it's always a pleasure to have my next guest on the show, Bellator heavyweight Tim Johnson, and you can see him in action next when he meets Fedor Emelianenko in the main event of Bellator 269 in Russia on October the 23rd. Tim, how are you?
Doing great.
Yeah, it's good to see you again, and this is really an exciting fight. I mean, Fedor is a legend in the sport. Just tell me your excitement and your emotions when you first found out that you're the guy facing this legend here next.
It was right after my Moldavsky fight. I was in the back getting my eye looked at, and I was on the phone right away with my agent, and told him, well, this fight didn't go my way. Just dropped my name in the hat for Fedor. He hadn't had, just kind of came out, no opponents yet. And as time was going on, I didn't know if I was gonna really, if I had enough name power to really get the fight. So I was trying to look at other avenues. And Ryan called me and was like, "Hey, you got the fight. You picked you. Won the lottery, and I can't wait."
Have you been watching a lot of Rocky IV, getting ready for this, going over to Russia?
Yeah, I know. I've been. There's no snow here in Vegas, so I can't go running up a mountain in snow or any of that stuff. So I mean, I'm going to be at a little bit of a disadvantage there, but yeah, it's now we're kind of getting into the heart of camp now and starting to look at game planning and stuff like that.
I got to imagine too, just someone in your position at the highest of levels here for the sport, this has to be somewhat of a bucket list to fight someone like Fedor in your career.
On top of Fedor, fighting Fedor is all through my life. Family and friends usually kind of look at me a little weird, but a lot of people are like, "Oh, I'd love to go to so and so place or visit, Ireland or somewhere, London," and I'm like, I've always wanted to go to Russia, so this is two birds, one stone type of scenario for me. I get to visit Russia and fight Fedor.
Yeah, and obviously he's a little bit older in his career. He's clearly not in his prime, but when you look at everything that he's accomplished, like where would you rank him on the Mount Rushmore, specifically of heavyweights of mixed martial artists?
I mean, a lot of people are gonna say since he didn't compete in the UFC that he had a lot of problems, or that's gonna knock him at all. But back in the pride, I mean, I'm still considered number one.
Yeah, no doubt. I mean, he really is one of the all-time legends of the sport. It's very cool that you're getting this opportunity in his home country. Does that excite you more? Does it maybe add some extra nerves that you're going to be going into his turf? Everyone's looking at you as the villain. They'll be booing you like crazy. Run me through your mindset thinking about that.
I think Fedor makes like the fifth Russian I fought. I'm really familiar with Russians. But I don't think I embrace it. A lot of times I think I get some fans on my side out of it. When I fought down in Brazil, I think I was the only American that didn't get the Uda Lay chant. I think I win people over a little bit, but yeah, not there though. I think the crowd will be pretty fired up, and especially I don't know if it came out and said it is his last one, possibly. I think depending on how it goes, he might do one more. But I'm looking at this. If this is his retirement fight, he's gonna be putting everything he has into it. Even if he is a little bit older, he still has thunderous hands. He still has knockout power. Everyone knows that's the last thing that goes with a heavyweight is the power. He still has that, and yeah, he's gonna come out like an animal. And he's gonna do everything he can to win the fight.
Yeah, I'll dive into a little bit more about this matchup with Fedor here in a minute. But first, I just wanted to get your takeaway from that loss to Moldavsky. This is a teammate of Fedor's, basically his understudy. They're grooming him to be like the next version of Fedor. What did you learn from that fight here to make you a better mixed martial artist here moving forward?
I learned that, I have a lot of people look at me, they don't think I'm in shape. I think I have a pretty good gas tank. Looking into that fight, when the fight was over, he was doubled over and I was ready to go another couple rounds. And just, I thought I fought a really good fight. If I'm being honest, I thought it could have gone either way. I thought the scoring was a little, I would have taken 47, 48s across the board. I thought maybe I won 2 rounds for sure. But, that's how it goes. All I want to do, I was concentrating. The game plan was to stand up, make him fight. I didn't try to utilize wrestling at all. Come around again, I'd probably try to, and throw in a little bit of wrestling, not just total 100% stand up. But live you learn. That's a fight that I think 9 times out of 10, actually out of 10 fights could go either way every time. Who knows? But yeah, I'm just happy to be still fighting and watch my career go up, not down.
Yeah, no doubt. Was there any technical adjustments in that fight?
Yeah, they just want to be. I think the main thing that I kind of remember, I think a lot of fighters will go mid-round. What they were talking to me, but just picking up the pace a little bit, being more explosive. I'd have a couple of my little pressures forwards, my blitzes, I guess you could say, whatever you want to call them. I should have done a couple more of those. I think I was given a little too much respect. And from my previous experiences, which has gotten me in trouble in the past as well, I'd keep going forward and running into punches and getting knocked out or getting in bad positions. So that's kind of where I've developed more as a fighter, as being more patient. Should have probably threw caution to the wind a little bit more and done a little bit more of that.
Yeah. And did you jump right back into camp after the fight, or did you take a little time off? Run me through what life has been like for you since then.
Yeah, I took some time off. Went up to Minnesota for like 2 weeks and just kind of vacated around there. Went up to North Shore, Duluth area. Went all the way up to Grand Portage, so the Canadian border. And kind of stayed at the lake cabin for a little bit. And then from there, went into some military training, and then from military training, took another little 4-day trip, and then back into some more military stuff. And now, about 2 weeks ago, got back into Vegas here and started training.
Yeah, and I saw something that you posted on Instagram at Camp Ripley. It was this giant explosion. What exactly was that? What were you guys doing for training there?
We were just doing our yearly training checklist. So we had to do some of our demolitions. So I think what I posted was just a confidence charge. So about, let me see, 3, 4, 5, a couple 100 pounds of C4 that we rigged up in blue. Then we do some cuts, do some cutting charges for cutting I-beams, and do some shape charges and cratering charges and stuff like that.
Wow, that's crazy. It's a pretty amazing video. That was a giant explosion there. Now that you're back in camp, obviously getting ready for this big fight, how has it been thus far down at Extreme Couture?
It's been going great. Got some knock on wood on somewhere. Make sure don't want to jinx myself. But yeah, so our camp's going good. Came in. I've been a lot trimmer my last couple of years than I have my years prior. There was times I was walking around with like 295 pounds in between fights. In the last couple of years, I've been keeping around the 270, 275. So I came into camp a little heavier. I was like 278, but now I'm starting to trim back down. That's what 6 weeks of military and vacation will do.
Yeah, no doubt about it. Who have you been getting that work in with? Is Ngannou back there, or have you had other training partners here for this camp?
That just started it last week. It's kind of just getting the ball rolling, nice and light. But yeah, I've been getting rounds in with Francis, and I'm kind of getting in some rounds with some handful of light heavyweights. Grappling with a lot of actually like 180, 185ers, just to kind of get me out of that slow heavyweight plodding stuff. Just try to get them, get me explosive, get me moving. They force me to move a lot, which of course makes me really tired, which then in turn makes me be in better shape. So.
Yeah, and how's Francis looking? I know ultimately he's going to have that unification title fight with Cyril Gane, which that's really intriguing to me. I'm sure he's looking just as scary as he always does in camp.
As always, I don't think he's never not looked scary.
What do you think of that matchup with Gane? Because he's a technical fighter. I think it's going to be a different kind of look than we've seen him against previous opponents. Do you like that matchup for Francis?
I do. It's just, honestly, the fight's going to be more on Gane than it is on Francis. Gane can finish people, but he is an outside. He doesn't really he doesn't really push for that KO. If it happens, it happens. But he stays on the outside a lot, points, picks his shots, and it's going to be a lot of movement. He's going to be moving all over the place, and I think the biggest thing for Francis for that fight is going to be cutting out the angles. Don't be chasing after him. And Francis he's gotten a lot better at that. Over the course of his career as well. It's not just running in trying to just blur. He's using angles, and yeah, I think it's going to be a lot of stand up, and you know, yeah, I think it's going to be a good fight either way you look at it. But yeah, it's still going to take Francis on that.
Yeah, I can't wait for that fight, and I don't blame you for taking him. He's a scary, scary man. I do understand too that Jake Shields has been down at Extreme Couture. Have you worked at all with him? Because he's clearly a veteran of the highest of levels that could probably, give you some sort of expertise as far as the game plan goes. Has he been someone that you've been around at all?
Yeah, no, I see Jake quite a bit around the gym. He'll see stuff to do. He'll put in his 2 cents if he's walking by me and seeing some stuff. He'll put in his 2 cents. Picked his brain a little bit actually yesterday about a certain position. So yeah, another great mind to have in the gym to exploit. I guess you want to say if he's around, definitely use it.
Yeah. I hear nothing but amazing things about Coach Nixick. Can you just talk a little bit about what it's like to have him in your corner and just his knowledge base?
Oh, I hate Eric. Like he's just a selfish. Oh, I'm the MMA coach of the year. No, I love Eric. I've been coming out here for a handful of years. Prior to moving out here, I was coming out, from 2016 to 2018 for a portion of my camps, and I was super inviting. Always made me feel at home. I never felt like an outsider at the gym, even though I was only here for 3 weeks out of 5 months. Like it was he always opened arms. I had his phone number before I was out here, came out here. Anytime I had any problems with anything, call him. And he'd be a good guy to listen, good guy to get opinions from, and he's with every fighter. You don't have to be top of the podium hole he's like that with everybody. And it's great to have a coach like that.
As far as the trip to Russia goes, I mean, that's got to be quite the flight. Do you know how long it is to make it from Vegas to Russia?
I'll actually fly out of Fargo to Russia because that weekend before the fight, I have my drill weekend. So I will be flying out from Fargo to Russia, and it's 17 hours total travel time.
That is a brutal trip. That's a very, very long flight.
Oh.
I'm not one. I don't like flying a whole lot. I do get some nerves. Is that something that bothers you? I mean, you've done it so much now.
Yeah, but I don't think you ever get used to it. Those long flights are the first. You can only sleep so much, and then you're uncomfortable sleeping, and then yeah, I get up and walk around probably half the flight. And then yeah, it's just. Actually, I think the more I'm doing it, the more I'm getting. I dislike the flights, honestly.
Yeah, I hear you there. Now, obviously, I assume Coach Nixick will be there in your corner come fight night. Who else will you have there in Russia?
Actually, well, it won't be Eric. It will be my coach up here. Will be Nick Pettit. My old coaches from Fargo, Dylan Spicer and Joe Trottier, and yeah, just kind of get a good mixture of where I started, where I was at, and where I'm going.
And so we talked a little bit about Fedor earlier. Obviously, there's tons of tape on him that you can watch. 2 years since his last fight, almost. He finished Rampage. Prior to that, he lost to Ryan Bader. Again, I mean, power goes last with these heavyweights, and I'm assuming that's what he's going to try and touch you with. But what do you think about this matchup with him at this stage of his career?
I'm not, I don't have any, grandeur. Like, I know that this is not the same Fedor of 10 years ago. With that said, it's still Fedor. I've been using people have been asking me the question of using an analogy quite a bit that I kind of came up with. Say you got a D1 basketball player, and he's just a stud, #1 overall pick, but to get to the NBA, he has to beat Michael Jordan one-on-one. He probably will beat Michael Jordan, but it's still Michael Jordan, and that's kind of the way I look at this. It's not the same, but you still got to bring your A game.
Mm-hmm. Do you have to use your wrestling abilities and grappling to kind of change the pace of this fight, or are you going to be willing to just stand there and trade with him?
I think a mixture of both. I think my last fight, I didn't try to grapple at all and didn't get the win because of it. And this time, I think a good intermix of both is the route to victory. I'm not going to stand right in front of them and trade overhand rights because I don't think I'm gonna win that one. I'm not really known for my overhand. But yeah, we'll see how the fight goes. I don't try to push the fight to any kind of position. Wherever the fight develops, that's where it develops. I just try to be fairly well-rounded and prepared for all contingencies.
Do you think you get the finish?
I hope so. I'm tired of fighting a long time. I like finishes. So you get back to the hotel room and relax.
Do you see this fight going long, though? I mean, do you expect this to get out of that first, second round, go the distance, or do you believe that you're going to have what it takes to get him out of there early?
I think realistically, probably if it's going to be a finish, that'd probably be a second round finish. I think both of us will be testing the waters and understand that, that first round heavyweight power is, you got to kind of let that battery drain a little bit. But I think so a little more cautious, unless you can get one through. He can get one through. I can get one through. I think it's probably, if there's going to be a finish, it'll probably be in the second round.
Does a win over Fedor, like how many more fights do you need to get back to a title shot? Do you feel like you're going to have to string together a couple more wins to get that rematch with Moldavsky if he still is the champion?
I think a win over Fedor puts me knocking on the door. But I think probably one more fight after that. I'm not looking forward, but it's nice to have kind of a grand plan. Win over Fedor. And then a fight again in February against, maybe me and Czech to get for a third time to see who gets to fight the winner of Bader and Moldavsky. Or, I saw, I don't know what's going on with Minakov, Bellator over the years. What they're doing, it's none of my business. So I see he's fighting again. So maybe a rematch with him, and the winner gets, who knows? There's a handful of scenarios there.
All right, I like it. You should be a matchmaker. Afterwards. Listen, Tim, it's always a pleasure to talk to you, my man. Again, Tim Johnson, Fedor Emelianenko, main event of Bellator 269 on October the 23rd. Before I let you go, man, tell people where to follow you on social media, and if you have anyone to thank, the floor is yours.
Social media, you can find me at tbeartim on Instagram and Twitter. Go to that Instagram and hit that follow button. For sponsors, I have H&I Nutrition out of Fargo. You can get them online. They've been sponsoring me since way back in the day. Even in my ups and downs, they've always been there. Texas Oil Group, it's a veteran-owned company, and Burbiz Events. They're also veteran-owned company that uplift veterans and do a lot of networking within there. And on top of my head, that's all I really got right now.
Make sure to subscribe to the LowKick MMA YouTube channel for all the latest news, event previews, and interviews with some of the biggest stars in MMA.